Stale listings, what are they? How do they happen? We're going to unpack it this morning. A huge topic that we're always coming up against as an agent.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Yes. The stale listing, Billy. Week 1, it's all fresh and polished, full of promise. Week 2, still hopeful. Week 3, questions start creeping in. And by week 4, it's not a hot property anymore. It's a stale sandwich sitting in the window that no one wants to touch. Often that's the case, isn't it? Like I'm always saying in our office, like you've literally got 2 weeks. You've got 2 weeks. That's it. No one wants to say it out loud, Billy, but properties, they don't go stale by accident. They go stale because the market spoke and someone didn't listen. We're seeing a lot of them at the moment. What sort of numbers have we got at the moment across the real estate portals? That's always our metric. What are we looking at?
Yeah, it's just shy of 1,000 properties across the Northern Beaches at the moment. And that's up from, we're seeing 700, around the 700 range, towards the first quarter one of the year, start of the year. So, yeah, it's a big jump up. And
I reckon, Billy, half of those properties that are sitting on those real estate portals have been on the market for more than 30 plus days. And that's starting to get into stale listing territory. Guys, did you hear that? 30 plus days.
Yeah, by definition, it's days on market, that creates a benchmark in the area. And then it's the, buyer's perception. As a listing starts to age, they recognize it sort of coming full circle.
Okay, so I've got some cold hard facts here. The reality is if your property has been sitting on the market for 30 plus days, and listen, this is definitely area centric, all right? Because if you're regional Australia, no doubt the days on market, how long it's going to take to get your property sold is really going to stretch out. But in areas where we operate, such as the Northern Beaches, if a property's been sitting on the market for more than 30 days, are you ready? It's not a marketing issue. It's a price issue. And as a vendor, you may not want to hear that. And you have every option to say, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. But it's going to be a slippery slope down the hill for you. That is the truth. Buyers don't miss good properties. If it's good value, it's gone and it's gone quickly. That's the truth. When you see those properties and they pop up onto social media or they pop up onto Domain or realestate.com, you're like, God, that came and went quickly.
Yeah.
At the moment in this market, if it's gone quickly, it's decent value.
Yeah. And I suppose the reason a listing can go stale, it's most commonly overpriced. It could be poor marketing, could be presentation, could be the timing, and it could be an agency sort of mismatch with strategy. But more often than not, price is the biggest.
Correct. So more often than not, it comes back to the price. The longer a property sits around, the more power it actually shifts away from the seller and actually goes straight into the buyer's hands. So I want to talk about a scenario. We were just talking about it off air, Billy. I want to talk about a property that went stale scenario. Property was with us. Really, really good property, all renovated, presentation, tick. We look at the 3 Ps, when a property's not moving. We look at price, we look at product, the actual property itself, and we look at presentation and how the property's presenting. Is there an issue with it? Does it have a driveway that's super steep? Do you have to walk 1,000,000 stairs to get up to the property? We look at all those factors because that's going to have an impact on price. Property that was listed with us, and within the first 2 weeks of the campaign, Billy, you had a really good offer on it. I'll let you pick up the story here.
Yeah, really strong offer. And I sympathise for owners when you've not had an abundance of offers, and sometimes it's the first offer that's the best offer. What do you measure it against? There's always that sort of sitting on the fence. Do we wait a little bit longer, see what else we can get, or do we take it and go? But in this case, the settlement terms didn't quite align for the owner. The price was phenomenal, but the settlement terms let them down a bit, put them into a bit of a stressful position where they would have had to accept it and move quite quickly. And that didn't work for them at the time. So decided to hold on, wait. But it ended up becoming the wait of what felt like a lifetime. It dragged on for about 4 months, changed agent, and ended up selling for 250,000 between the first offer and the accepted offer. Big difference.
So $250,000. And guys, let me tell you, this was a 2-bedroom apartment. This was not a multi-million-dollar home. So, the settlement terms that didn't align is certainly one thing, but it ended up costing that vendor $250,000. That's the truth. So you've got, really, you've got the first 2 weeks. That's your golden window. That's when you're going to get the competition. That's when you're going to get the urgency. And after that, I'm sorry to tell you, you're pretty much chasing the market down. Every new buyer that walks through your property, they're not excited anymore after that. They're suspicious when they walk through the doors. They're wondering what's wrong. When a property doesn't sell, and buyers see it sitting out there for too long, they think one of 2 things. They think something's wrong with it, or they think this is overpriced. I'm hearing it more often than not now, Billy, where buyers are asking, how long's this property been on the market for? They get the metric. They understand that if it's been on the market for more than 30 days, something must be wrong. So I want to give some ideas to you guys out there that are watching this, that are going, oh, this sounds like me. I spoke with a prospective client yesterday. Property's been on the market for a very long time, approximately 160 days. It's a stunning property.
Yeah.
And I asked that vendor, I said, I'd like to ask you, the listing's not with me. I said, I'd like to ask you, what are your thoughts on your marketing? She said, I never liked the photos. I said, okay, I believe there's problem number 1. I said, the listing agent, the one that you signed with, are they turning up to do the open homes? The vendor said, no, they're not. They're sending their assistant, and I don't believe that agent knows a huge amount about my property. There's red flag number 2. Never put a great buyer in front of a not so great agent. Problem. Then there's the price. I said, where are the offers coming in? She said, we haven't had any. I said, so you've been on the market for 160 days and you haven't had a single offer? She said, no. Problem. Price.
Yep.
So there's a whole lot of factors here. Now, I feel like we do the cleanup after a listing's gone stale really well, Billy. Can we just have a quick chat about what that might look like? Just let's throw a lifeline out there to people.
Well, initially it's that choice of relisting or withdrawing from market, and sometimes it's a bit of both. It's arresting the property in between them coming back online, but usually it involves completely reinvigorating the campaign. I mean, we're talking those 3 Ps you mentioned earlier: price, product, promotion. It's a whole new start. So we're definitely not using the same photos. They've already been put out to the marketplace. We're definitely not using the same pricing strategy. It's not going to work differently. We're definitely not taking shortcuts in the promotion side of things. And it's then got to come with a whole different sense of strategy and energy. I think, by this point, sellers' emotions are already down. They're fatigued. So they're looking for that fresh start as well. And they're just looking for, 9 times out of 10, a lot of honesty. There's a lot of trust in that as well. And a new sense of style and approach. And without the overheads, because they've already probably spent about 10 to 15,000 in marketing as well.
Yep. Yeah, you 100% nailed it. And so what I find when I'm speaking with vendors that have got listings, with other agents, and they've called me and said, Lisa, don't know what to do. What can you suggest? Often they've gone with an agent and they promised them the world and then didn't come through with the delivery. Sometimes it is the market, of course, but sometimes there's other factors there that are involved. And the best analogy I can give is the operation was a success and the patient died on the table. And now it's come over to us, an analogy, guys, and we're having to perform open heart surgery on this patient. And it's got to be built from the ground up. In terms of what we do, we will not absolutely refuse to use another agent's photos. The whole campaign has got to be burnt to the ground and it's got to be rebuilt again. And as you mentioned, Billy, there's so many factors that go into it, but I feel like we've got the blueprint for this strategy. I really do.
Yeah.
But speaking with vendors that have been on the market for too long with other agents, the trust is completely gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. They don't trust that the agent can pull it together. They don't trust that the offers were where they needed to be. They don't trust the feedback. They don't trust that they turned up to their open home, and they've usually spent tens of thousands of dollars in marketing. So we've got a strategy around that as well, guys. We are not charging tens of thousands of dollars in marketing. In fact, we're charging dollars and cents. So there is a lifeline out there. If you're watching this and you really feel like this is resonating with you, please reach out to us. I could show you hundreds of case studies where we've then relisted properties that have been on the market for too long and we've resold them, and it's happened quickly. It's happened quickly. It really has.
By that point, you've hopefully got an understanding where the property's sitting in the market, with feedback. But I do, as I'll say it again, I sympathise with owners when they've not had offers. Low offers, it could be a reflection of the market. No offers, that's a mistake of the agent.
Yep. Absolutely agreed. Guys, hopefully this has been of help to some of you out there. We felt it was a really important topic for this morning. We're hearing it a lot of late. I reckon in the last 7 days, Billy, I've had probably half a dozen calls. I spent about an hour on the phone yesterday with a lovely client. They're very disheartened. But understand there is a lifeline out there. There absolutely is. If we can help, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Great topic.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Billy. Have a great morning, everyone.
See you later. Have a good day.
See ya.